upkeeping a basically larger house, especially if you have any rooms with huge windows like this, they'll get dirty, interior and exterior. If you don't clean them often enough, I mean, the dirt could actually get etched in there. So we got the curtains off because we got to do our basic cleaning here. Our little recreation room, call it that. And all the curtains are off. I'm kind of going over some of the windows, some of the metal work, cleaning it, any of the mold off. Well, you know, I should be wearing a mask. Thanks for reminding myself. Might be a good idea. But it takes a whole lot of work. Now, these particular curtains, for some reason, they had this vinyl or something topping on there. And the sun would dry this out and crack, and we would find it all over the floor, these pieces of plastic. So we've actually swept that up at this point. I started this window here. It was kind of finishing off this. I'm not still feeling that well. Still got congestion. So I'm not really doing a lot today, but I'm going to work myself around on here and get both interior and exterior windows done. Now, if you look up here, from here to there, that's glass, comes around this part and around there. So we had to clean that. When we had the guys over that were working for me, they helped clean it off a bit. There was a lot of lizard shit and it was getting really dirty. Now, as you can see by the wind blowing out here, we've had 3 solid days of wind, which is actually welcome to me, but it blows all these leaves around. So every day on the other side of the house, it gives her something to do, I guess. She enjoys doing it, is going around sweeping up the leaves. I help her out, and I just try to tell her, look, let's kind of refrain from burning that right now till my sinuses kind of get back to normal. Just throw it in the bags. You'll see we have a burn pile over here, which I don't approve of for myself or anybody else, but unfortunately sometimes that's a way of getting rid of stuff around here. And you can see the wind is blowing, it's cool, it just feels fantastic. But you know, there are pros and cons of actually owning a house. It certainly is. I mean, you know, little things like these doors need to be wiped down with soap and water a lot. I just got finished in that one room I showed you with the windows. The door on there was kind of dirty in there. You know, screen gets dirty. There's a lot of maintenance in owning a house, but it's well worth it when you figure I don't have to go put out 25, 30, 35, 40,000 pesos a month for rent. So, yeah, it's a worthwhile investment. There's no doubt about that. But I will say it does keep us busy, and that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing. All these windows, you know, going over slowly of cleaning these windows here. All these windows. This is the other room that you saw earlier. This is the exterior, and I had to clean the inside of this door. I'm not totally done yet. Got to clean the outside glass real well, especially the side windows on the other side here. It's a great sunroom if that's what you want. It can get hot in there. That's why we have, you know, curtains kind of opaque. You can't get the sun through at its greatest strength. And underneath the eaves, of course, here, you know, you're going to see that there's a little black, if you could really see the detail. That has to be done and then repainted with epoxy. So, yeah, there's a lot of things in owning a house, and I can understand why some people will tend to just say, nah, you know, I'll pay the rent instead. But when you add it up, if you're paying 25, 30, 35, 45,000 a month, now it's well worth having a house and spending on the maintenance of the house. It's actually worth it. I mean, in the overall long run, yeah, it's actually worth it. Then I consider, what are the taxes per year on here? What did we pay? I don't know, was it 1,500 pesos for the year, land and house? That's really excellent. So when I had owned that house in Seattle and my daughter had moved out, you know, the taxes and everything were going up, the insurance, the taxes. That's when I got rid of it. And that's the time that you do. And when my house gained value in Hawaii, I just happened to come in at a seller's market and got rid of it. I never thought I'd get as much out of that house. Quite frankly, I never thought I'd get as much out of the house as I did, despite the balance of the mortgage. Now, if you look at a lot of houses in the Philippines, you know, you got metal, these are hollow core, tubes, kind of a metal tubing, and you can see there's rusting going on. And this is a constant maintenance. I'm not going to do that. I'm absolutely not. I'll get a guy that's going to grind off all this old paint. Okay, it's going to be treated with a rust preventative. Then it's going to be coated with a special primer, then overcoated with an epoxy. Sounds like a lot of work to own a house, doesn't it? Well, you know what? You are right. You're absolutely right. When you're dealing, and I don't live really a far distance from the ocean, there's salt in the air, and that will erode anything made of metal over time. Then, you know, repainting or retouching or cleaning your walls. Now, I don't know how good this camera is. You can see paw marks from cats that climb up the wall here all the time. They're on every wall. They got dirty, muddy feet, and maybe you could see that. I'm pretty sure you could. Okay, this goes on the whole wall. So I'm always constantly retouching this up. I mean, I could let it go for a while and just do it all at once. But look, every piece of wall that you're looking at right here, I don't know what the camera's picking up, but you can see these are cat marks. Then, of course, the weeds that grow against the wall, that's a constant thing too. They'll turn into trees if you leave them alone. Sometimes the cows come over and they eat this shit, and we encourage them, or the goats. That's okay. We have no problem with that, even though they're going to leave shit piles around. Just, you know, clearing this shit up. So yeah, there's a lot of work in having a house, but you got to weigh it out. That's what you have to do. Now, this second gate over here, we never use, because this would be the entrance if I want to bring a car in here, and I don't have a car. But this is rusting like crazy. If you could see that detail in there, I think you could. So I'm either throwing oil on this, or I'm repainting it with the same color. You know, I'm trying to scrape off some stuff by hand, which I really don't want to do. You can see how it'll bubble up here. Anytime you got metal, this goes for everyone, it's just not concentrated on my place. Now you can see here, a combination of a lot of cats going up and down on here and other things. And okay, again, the rusting that's going on here. Look, I could peel it off. You watching this? You seeing this? This is what happens. It's constant maintenance. Now, by the way, by law, the front of your house, you can't have a wall that's over 4 foot tall. Now, the wall itself, meaning the cement structure right here, you could, however, make this as high as you want, as long as you can see through. I'm not sure what this law encompasses and why, but generally, but in the back of the house, you could make it as tall as you want. But in the front, ordinance or whatever, 4 foot tall, but you could make this and build it up as high as you want, pretty much, as long as you could see through it. Now go figure that. I don't know. There's got to be something to that, so I'm assuming that there is. Well, like Hillary's old statement, it takes a village to raise a family. Well, there's a certain amount of truth to that. Because so much activity goes on inside the house. Now, don't forget, my dogs spend a lot of time inside, and great for my allergies, right? What you think? And we have to peel off the floor with a broom, a nice pile of hair every single day. Now the kids have to be cooperative, and for the most part, I think they really are. So there's always wiping down surfaces, even the dining table I'm sitting at right now. Wiping down the table constantly, because one little crumb could bring a shitload of ants. A certain bug that might die on the floor or something, fly, you're going to get 1,000 ants. I mean, there's also ant control. So you're probably thinking, damn, I don't know, Frank. Sounds like I'm okay not having a house. Yes and no to that. Your money is growing in a house, So if you decide to sell it, you and your partner agree on that, you're definitely going to get your investment back and more. And of course, the fact that you don't have to pay any rent, that really helps out a lot. So there are pros and cons to owning a house, that's for sure. Now, let me point this to the sliding doors here, to the dining room. I decided to lock the doors and just have this one entrance over here, come in and out. Because the kids, and ourselves, me too, we all do it, most of the kids. They'll use their hand on the window to open the door, and I'm constantly using Windex or something to clean off smudge marks and everything else. So I figured, look, let's just do this. don't use this. Don't use the sliding doors from the hallway to the dining room. We're going to keep it locked. Use the one entrance going into here. And we also don't allow the dogs to come in the dining rooms. This is where we eat. And they do come in the living room. It's a family room. Yeah, we allow the dogs in there, and I am surrounded by dog dander. Yep. But having an allergy is a bitch. And that's my biggest problem. If you want to know what's going on, really, I got some allergies that are basically under control. You know, it creates sinusitis. When it gets real bad, it can cause like an episode of bronchitis. Yeah. Then you go visit a particularly dirty city that is known for its pollution, and voila, magic mixture of sending your sinuses to fucking hell. That's kind of how it works, unfortunately. Then if you're a smoker at the same time, you're aggravating everything else. So, I know, you don't have to tell me, quit smoking. All right, we don't have to discuss that. I totally agree and understand with you on that. But putting together all these elements adds up to hell. And there's always something to dust around here. The air conditioners have to be cleaned every 3 months, which we do. You'd be surprised what we found in there last time. I think I told you we found a huge lizard. Anyway, you know, you never know what you find. And most people get ant problems in their air conditioner. We were lucky this time. But as it goes, yes, there's a lot of maintenance in owning a home. And some people say, well, maybe they just can't afford a home. I'll never have a home. What the fuck I need a home for? Well, you know, they're not grounded like I am, okay? I got a woman of long term now, and hey, the official 8-year anniversary, my friends, is February 4th. February 4th. And by the way, congratulations to somebody. It's their 9th month anniversary. All right, we're not going to elaborate on that because this show is not about that. It's about maintenance of a home and what's involved. Now, circulating the air in your house is important too. You've got to circulate the air. That helps a little bit with preventing fungus, mold, whatever, from settling down on surfaces. However, if the fan itself is not cleaned periodically, it's another problem for allergy sufferers, or anybody really. It creates pollution. All the dust on there is being blown around into your nostrils, into your eyes, into your hair, onto your skin. Do I sound extreme? No, I'm really not. This is just reality. That's just reality. Now, here's our kitchen counter area, which unfortunately for us sometimes becomes a mess. Now, I don't feel settled unless everything is clean. Personally, I don't like anything on the counter. I think the coffee maker could be put somewhere. It's okay for the water dispenser. Okay for the dish rack. But all this shit you see here, that's bothersome to me. Okay, I don't like anything on the counter. We got the rice cooker, we got the fryer. Well, it has to go someplace. I guess you can put it on the counter. Yes, we put the rice cooker and the fryer together. I don't like anything else on the counter. Look at, we got scissors, we got a spoon that was used for the tea. We got a pair of scissors here. We got a drying or cleaning rag, and I happen to find some ants just now on the stove because of the drippings of food. You can't win against the ants. I mean, they go for grease because they go for the proteins. There's different kind of ant. Look, you can see them right there. We don't normally get them on the stove. You see them crawling around? Okay, that's what happens. Now, I'm a stickler for shit like this, okay? I could see some grease on here from cooking. To me, that's just not allowable. And because of that, I see a few ants crawling around on here. Now, look at the hallway in this place. Well, one thing we do need is stuff on the walls. It's a long hallway, and that collects dirt and hair at tremendous amounts. And that's got to be cleaned all the time, too. Well, I don't have anything else but Windex, or that's kind of a Windex, Mr. Muscle. I'm going to let that sit on there for a while. For those people that think I just sit on my ass all day, that is the last thing I do. Because I don't let her do all the work around here, and I do my share of everything around here. And we decided to do something smart. Went in one store that had these big old rolls. My waist a good rag. Has these big old rolls of paper. And there we go. And it's not really expensive. And you could just use this for everything. You're going to blow my nose. I mean, I'll use this for everything. And I will use for everything. You got to get the grease off this crap, because otherwise you are inviting ants or roaches, which we don't have a problem with roaches around here, and I'm actually surprised we don't. Ants, well, yeah, they're like the most prolific living life on the planet is ants. So keeping your stove clean is really imperative. After all, you do cook there. And certainly don't put your stove next to your freaking toilet. I could advise that right off the bat. Okay, so this is what we do. Now I also noticed that my propane tank will be gone, it's getting down pretty low. So there's about at least 1,000 peso expense on the propane tank. So this is what I do. And if you think I actually sit around all day watching TV, you'd be very wrong. Because I participate in the maintenance of the house. I don't let my girlfriend do all that shit. The kids do help out. Sometimes not as much as I'd like them to, but they do participate. I gotta give them credit for that. So buying a roll like this, kind of a commercial industrial roll. The other thing I don't like is anything laying in the sink. Normally, this sink and counter area is void of anything that you see here. Because I'm the kind of person that I feel clean when everything else is clean around me. I'm not a clean freak per se, but you see, you live inside your house. You don't live outside your house. So, I think these pans could go in the cabinet where they should be. And I see a little couple of ants climbing on this too. It's like, what doesn't ants ever get into? It doesn't take much. Now the racks have to be cleaned all the time, at least a couple of usage. Believe me, just trust me, they do. And sometimes I watch the kids when they do the dishes. We don't use hot water, although we have installed in here that I was using a water heater, but that was making our electric bill go so freaking high. I said, I'm just turning it off. Wasted money perhaps, but no. As long as you use an antibacterial soap, you're okay. Now then you might say, some people, they take a clean rag to dry their dishes off. Not a good idea, and I think I've talked about this once before. Why is it not a good idea? Well, it's not a good idea because dishes are not always perfectly clean. And you're getting particulates that are going to be on that rag that you're drying it off with, okay? And what happens is that you're applying it right back on the dishes that you just cleaned, okay? So I basically tell them to let it drip dry, really good, shake all the water off. And if you have a lot of rolls of like that roll of paper I showed you, yeah, you can utilize that to dry the dishes off. In fact, I'm going to be telling them to do that. Or if you have a clean fan without no dust on it, a small table fan, you could point that toward the dish rack to help it dry off. Or if you really want, on a sunny day, you could actually take the dishes in your rack and put it outside on the table and let it air dry and let the ultraviolet rays, kill any germs and bacteria. Now, my ultimate dish situation would be to have an ultraviolet system in the kitchen around the dishes, which will actually kill off any bacteria. And you're probably saying that sounds really extreme. Let me tell you something, man. When you live in the Philippines, everything is extreme out here. And you'll know when you live out here for a while what I'm talking about. And I experienced some of these extremities, okay? So, really, you have to watch. You got to wash off your fruits and vegetables because there might be nematodes on there, which are going to give you some problems, okay? And some people could die from it. I mean, look what happened to Fazio, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, we have a nice little CR outside, nothing special about it. But sometimes the kids or whoever, if they go to the beach and they want to take a quick shower, get the sand off them, they'll come in here. It's a basic toilet flushed by water pressure. Get a pail, flush it like that. And they'll shower with the water nozzle. They got a water spigot over here. And you know how that's done in the Philippines. So it's been painted up, the room. It's a usable room. And for workers, they have access to this room. And this is Old Bessie. And I call it Old Bessie because we've had it for a while. It's made by LG. And yeah, you're right. It's made of a plastic product. But I got to tell you, this thing really does the job. I mean, it really does. I don't know what we paid. 18 for this? I'm not sure. 16 maybe? I don't know. Well worth it. I can't believe it's been working. Let me tell you, we do laundry around here too much. Now, what concerns me, and somebody could actually give me some information about the well systems, wells here in the Philippines. Will they go dry? You know, you got an aquifer system underground. How much does it contain? And believe it or not, the tides from the ocean, not terribly far away, actually, one way or another, could actually drive the aquifer system over to your well. That's something else to be examined another day, but it's an interesting topic, actually, which I want to do more research on. We have a well system here, but my concern is that we use massive water consumption because we don't just do one load of laundry a day. We're always doing laundry. Always doing laundry around here. Between for me, for my girlfriend, the kids, bedding materials, sheets, you know, you gotta keep that clean. You know, we got racks out here for clothing, as you can see, and over in the background you can see we got some, you know, little makeshift clotheslines and whatnot. A lot of work. So it always concerned me, our water usage. That has always been a concern. Then I'll show you something that's not as nice. Beyond this fence here in the back, we think we're going to build this up with a wall. There's garbage, there's trash, and then we don't throw our trash back here. You see there's a cat over there. We have a small cat population that visits regularly, always demanding food from us, and you know, I give in, which is not good, but you know, hey. They actually go, a lot of the kids don't close the bag on the garbage. The cats will climb in, they'll bring things with them, and they know their territory is here because they hide in the bushes. And you'll find, I even found a broken coffee cup in there, which we've never thrown in there before. Wrappers from, I don't know, products, candy, tea bags, you name it, will wind up in this yard that we have to go and clean. Not to mention, you see all the brush, the trees growing, the bushes, that we will go around, and I'll go out with the bolo knife and chop down some of the stuff as they're, you know, going to be intruding above this metal fencing here, which is just basically like a chicken wire fence with some barbed wire on it. Okay, so we have to do that all the time too. Now you see that tree right here? Well, it's their property, but I don't think they'd give a shit if I chopped it down because the wind is blowing these leaves onto my roof, and that's a constant problem. We have a big tree in front of the house. We're considering getting all the top major branches off down below the line of the gutters. That's what we're considering doing. Seriously. So you're saying that's a lot of expense, Frank. How do you do it? Well, I do it, you know. And I do it because I have to do it. That's bottom lining everything. I have to do it. Because if you let things go in a house, then guess what? Like anything else, like your body or anything else, when you let things go, you're letting everything go. You're letting your body go in many different ways. So, with that being said, is owning a house really worth it? Well, it's according how lazy you are. Keeping busy is not a bad thing at all. Keeping your body moving is really good. Look, I'm telling you, while I'm talking, you know what I'm doing? Let me show you what I'm doing. You know, that roll of tissue had eaten earlier, and this glass, which we had specially made to fit this table, gets smudged and gets dirty, and there's food particulates on there all the time. And, you know, we're constantly cleaning this too. So, as you see, I'm always keeping busy. But I could just lay back on my ass and do nothing and let everybody else do it, but I'm not like that. I'm a participant, and I live in this house also, so everybody has to put out a little bit of muscle now and then and just upkeep things because, you know, you spend a lot of time in the house. That's your comfort zone, that's your protection from the elements. It's where you can recreate, and it's a place that most people, especially retirees, do spend a lot of time within their home. Otherwise, they don't need a home of such. And as such, if you don't maintain it, it doesn't make your living situation comfortable for you. So you got to be proactive when you own a house and take care of everything you need to take care of. I mean, it's not always a labor of love, I will tell you that. But you do project by project. If there's anything major, you're going to build a wall, I'm going to replace or actually have grind off all the old paint from the railings on the front wall that I showed you. then I'll do that. But it's project by project, one step at a time. But we do get things done around here, and that's important that we upkeep everything around here. That's about it. Owning a house. Pros and cons of owning a house. You weigh it out for yourself. I don't have any regret on this at all because we could do what the hell we want with the house. Sell it, fix it up more, make it more attractive, add different features, don't have to pay rent, taxes are very low. And that, believe me when I say Seattle, that was one good reason to get rid of the house, because what I was paying per month, if you added it up between taxes and insurance, that was like a mortgage payment right there. So, no, Seattle, I think the cheapest place in Seattle actually even in Hawaii, where I used to live, the cheapest place to rent for a one bedroom is going to probably be about $1,500. Okay, so yeah, hell with that. But if you buy a house, you don't have to worry and stress about paying rent along with all your other expenses. So if you're making a decent amount of money per month and you don't have to pay rent, you're in good. It's very doable, and you're in good shape. That's my story. What's yours?